Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Busy hour coming up, including the latest buzz on the NFL draft, some of these line moves that we have with draft position. Matt Youmans on the program, his best bets on the event. He's got a ton as always. We'll touch on tonight's Major League Baseball card. Funny scheduling today. 5-day games, all basically over with by the time this show started 2 hours ago. And then, by the way, all 5 went under. And then a full slate coming up later on tonight, and some of those games beginning in approximately 45 minutes, and our best bets before we get out of here as well. So I said this before the break, perfect example of what a good coach can bring to the table. I thought it was J.J. Redick. Again, if you consider that it's, right, this is his first ever coaching job. Like, he never had to work his way up. It's just like, hey, I'm doing the podcast with LeBron. I'm suddenly going to get the Lakers gig, one of the best, positions that anybody could have in any sport, in North American sports that exists, obviously. But after what happened in Game 1, you knew that he was going to get their attention and he would make adjustments. He has shown us this throughout the regular season by game plans and what they can do. But it also wasn't just like to have him more ready for the first quarter to come out like that. It was what happened he's not afraid of his players at all. And I think a lot of guys might be intimidated by LeBron and Luka and the star power on that team.
Darvin Ham never did that.
Absolutely not.
I mean, there was a guy next to him counted 12 F-bombs after he called the timeout.
So they had that huge lead in the first quarter. Then the T-Wolves kept chipping away at that lead, and it got down to 11 points. It was 62-51 at that point, Pauly. 7:40 to go in the third quarter. That's when I went and listened to that audio today 5 times. My God, he doesn't care what anybody thinks of his language at all and what he's going to say to his players. It was, an F-bomb tirade, and how they respond, a 9-0 run, and the lead got back to 20 again. Now, that after the first quarter, that game was not easy for the Lakers, and that's why I think this series is going to be a very difficult one for them to win.
Well, there was a lot of bad Minnesota stuff, though, too. Not making shots and everyone in foul trouble and not coming out with the match in their intensity, and the Lakers season was on the line.
Right.
The other thing was the horrible officiating and also the fourth quarter where you had fewer than 35 points scored. Both teams shot 20% from three. In today's NBA, unheard of. But the Lakers go 20 of 20 from the free throw line, and they still can't bury him and put him away in a must-win. So while he's done a nice job and the defensive game plan was there, what are you going to do offensively? Because Minnesota's not going to play like that again, and their sense of urgency, and the crowd's going to be crazy Friday night, and it's a late start, that they're going to be lubed up and ready to go, tanked up. I mean, this is 94 and 95 points. So I want to see now I want to see the team that played once they acquired Luka and how that offense looked, and it's just a three-headed monster of LeBron, Luka, and Reeves. I'm watching isolation ball and guys standing in the corner like it was caveman ball back in the day when the NBA was unwatchable. Dump it down to the big guy, 20 dribbles, and take a contested 2. Yep. I mean, that's just, while you can attack Gobert. What if Finch doesn't play Gobert? That's another thing, how this could change the series. But I as I said earlier, I really liked Minnesota before the series. Liked them a lot after Game 1. I love them now after what transpired last night. And now, pick them range, and they get the next 2 games at home. It's going to be hard for the Lakers.
I was told that some offshore sites, you can still find the Wolves around plus 110 to win the series.
Good price.
Yeah. So, but the market here.
And it hasn't gone off either.
Right. So they open up 3. That's still pretty much the consensus, but there are plenty of 3.5s out there as well.
Really like first half, too. Come in and jump on them. Yeah, bounce back. But now it's a chess game, right? X's and O's. I want to see what these coaches do and how they change things. And again, you have nothing down low with the Lakers. And if it's going to be Luka facilitating and penetrating and continue to go off as well. But they got to have more from Reeves. Hachimura played well. But, you were all over those analysts before the series and what you said Tuesday about the depth. What am I going to get out of Finney-Smith and Vincent and some of these guys and Vanderbilt? So far, not much.
Right. And here's the thing, too, and everybody said this going back to last year's Western Conference Finals, the Wolves are going to have a major Luka problem. I don't think that's going to go away. It hasn't so far, right? Luka was fantastic last night.
Yeah, but there's going to be too much of that. You can't just have guys standing around and not getting in a rhythm. LeBron's not in a rhythm.
I think that I think I trust Redick to find that on tape and figure it out. Uh-huh. I really do.
Yeah. Previous guys, I didn't. Okay.
Right.
I can see that.
Yeah.
But that's why I can't wait for Game 3.
Well, Game 3 is going to be a monster. I mean, that is what? Is that Friday night?
It is.
Yeah. That's going to be the ratings on that game will be absolutely, especially if it's going to be a good game. But so you have that one. Forget about it with OKC and the Grizzlies. I mean, I took some 14.5 last night.
Wow, this is something now. It's an all-time record for what they've done. 84 Lakers had the record for the win the first 2 games like this. It's 6-0, and every win's been by a blowout this year, all 6.
They've won the first 2 games by 70 points.
Uh-huh. This defense is legit to just embarrass Memphis like this.
Is there a chance, and we've been talking about this now for weeks or months, like who's the second best team in the Western Conference? Who would give the Thunder their biggest challenge? Is there a chance that nobody will in the West?
That's in play. That could be.
There's a possibility there.
It's the best point differential of all time.
Right.
What they did this year.
They have done a stellar job of roster construction. I mean, just building this team up over the last couple of years. The drafting, the acquisitions they have made. I mean, it's every team should look at what they've done and study OKC and say, you know what, how do we become that team?
Yeah.
Certainly the SGA trade helped because they had a zillion picks along with it, but there are ways that you can also just get better at off-season signings and drafting. And
well, what do you do in Game 3? I mean, you can't make this number high enough where you're built in. Okay, Memphis season on the line. They got embarrassed. Well, they're 0-6 against them. So then it comes out OKC 8.5 on the road. And then, Von Tobel's got all the numbers since 2021. Remember, this was an ATM. This was money for years. You bet the team first quarter, first half that's down 0-2 in Game 3 at home. It's 12-17 first quarter, and it's 13-16 first half, going back since 2021.
Is that right?
The tax on this is unbelievable because you just see absurd point spreads.
Right.
And just how it was, you were printing money for years,
right.
But now you got, like, if the game is 6, you're laying like 4 first half, 5, maybe even the same number. But in that case,
can you find a way to get yourself to bet on the Grizzlies first quarter, first half this game?
No, I can't. The Bucks, yes, I'm there with the Bucks. I can't with Memphis.
Yeah, I could see the Bucks. I can't lay 4.5 with the Bucks in Game 3 for the game. I could not do that. Let's put it this way. I'm the exact opposite of Doc Rivers here, who came out and said last night, very confident here in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, clearly not paying attention to what took place last night and getting boat raced for like 80% of that game. But I can maybe see that.
Yeah, I forget it. How can he say, I don't know what adjustments I'm going to make? Or like I'm not going to make adjustments when the starters are getting killed. That's another asinine comment.
I got to get that tweet.
Oh, that's bad.
There are so many good ones here.
They are all over him in Milwaukee. All over him. Between the Kuzma stuff and Prince, and they want more Porter, and they're wasting Giannis here.
Yep.
I mean, this is embarrassing. They would go out for the 3rd year in a row in the first round here if they can't get it done, and they're up against it.
What a tweet here from Matt on X. Giannis in his last 6 healthy playoff games. Did you see this?
Give it to me.
35 points per game, 17-plus rebounds, 6.5 assists, shooting 53%. They're 0-6.
Oh.
It's just an absolute killer.
It is. And that's like tonight, and with that series, that's why the props are fascinating. I think all these guys go over. It's going to be an entertaining series, but Milwaukee can't guard anybody. Now, Lillard went under. Freak went over. Halliburton went over. Siakam went over again. I believe Porter went over. I mean, it's just there's too many. Every guy was in double figures for Indiana, and Freak is just going to dominate. You can't put the PRA high enough either. I mean, what do you have, 30 and 15 early in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, he's going to do whatever he wants against his team.
Yeah, no answer.
No, absolutely not.
But where's the help, right? To waste that performance from Porter. You got Porter doing that, you're still down 15.
I know. Think about that for a second.
Yeah. But that's why tonight's so awesome as well with Tatum doubtful, but the line 10.5 now because you have who's going to go off for Boston. Number 1 in NBA history in threes made and threes attempted. Orlando takes that away. They're number 2 in defense, but also who are you going to contain, who are you going to stop, or is it going to be a total team effort from Boston? And how do you want to attack it? I am with Porzingis, rebounds over. I'll attack it with those props. But as far as points, I think it's difficult, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game. With Orlando, it's only 2 guys, though, and they only have 2 players, and they were great, but they got blown out. But those are the only 2 guys that did much offensively in game 1. But I will point out they did go 2-0 in the games Tatum missed head-to-head this year.
So let me give you the official news right now. The NBA, they put out their official injury report every bottom of the hour. So 40 minutes ago, Jason Tatum was still listed as doubtful. This is an update within the last 20 minutes. Tatum not seen on the court during his usual pregame warm-up time. I would put it at a pretty strong number that he's not going to play then. And the point spread has been telling you that now pretty much the entire day.
And a 5-point move in the total.
But because they closed, 12.5 or 13 in game 1. Yeah. Now it's been sitting there at 10.5 for a long time. I can't imagine he's going to give it a go. I did bet Tyler Hero over 2.5 threes tonight. Found minus 110 on that. That's
a good price. Yep. Want to bet smarter, not louder? Check out the Sharp Plays at sharpplays.com, where real bettors go to get ahead. Chasing steam, copying picks, recycling the same old value plays. They're not sharp, they're just parrots. Sharp Plays is the source they're echoing since 2011. And with Follow the Money since day one, they've been locked in with what the real pros are betting. Elite group sharp money, the kind that moves the market. When the Sharp Plays jumps on a side, the line reacts. Insider info, powerful AI tools. You're not guessing, you're getting ahead. Sign up for free betting reports, real-time alerts, next-level intel via email or on X. He was there from day one with Mr. Poison as well. Talks to everybody. Don't follow the crowd, lead it. Sharpplays.com. That's the Sharp Plays.
So much buzz surrounding the NFL draft, which gets underway tomorrow night. We'll share some of the stuff that we've heard leading into it next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL draft set for tomorrow night. A little bit shy of 26 hours before it gets underway. Matt Youmans on the program. His best bets coming up. Here in Nevada, unfortunately, they come off the board because the Nevada Gaming Commission makes books come off the board at 5 o'clock Pacific time the night before, so 24 hours in advance. Outside of here, you can still bet it leading up to the draft. I think some books might offer in-play and live, like who's going to be the next pick or 2 picks down the road, which is great if you can take advantage of that. So some of the stuff that was out there today, I think there's a lot of nonsense, Pauly, but I'll try to focus on some of the stuff that I think might be real. One of which was, and I know that you think you want to bet the top 5. You think you have.
Yeah, it keeps moving. Yes, the odds, $1.04. I think we know the top 5. Yes.
So you think it's going to go? Go ahead, take it away.
Ward, Hunter. Hunter's now minus 1,100 to go to the Browns.
Okay.
Carter's now minus $8 to go to the Giants. My good source, close to the Giants coaches, says, yes, it's Carter, lock it up. And then we'll go Campbell, who's up to $4 to go to the Patriots, and then Genty. I don't know if it's Jacksonville, but I think Genty goes 5th. Okay. And then the fun starts, and if you bet that exact, that's $1.40.
This is what Todd McShay said on his podcast. I listened to it earlier this morning. He said that Will Campbell might be the pick for the Patriots at number 4, but everybody who he has talked to, and he's plugged in as well as anybody, right? This is what he did for a living forever at ESPN. Not a single person said, is he worth the pick at number 4? Patriots might love him, might take him anyway, but they said if you need to trade out or you need to do something else because you cannot take Will Campbell at number 4. They might. And they said he's basically going to turn into a guard, yada, yada, yada. But the people who he has talked to said, absolutely no way. So with that in mind, he said, with how much steam we've seen on the Ashton Genty numbers, specifically going number 5 overall. By the way, he was like 30-1 to go to Jacksonville 10 days ago, I think. He has been the favorite to go to the Raiders for a long, long time. But McShay brought up the idea of maybe, the Patriots saying, okay, we got to abort this pick. We got to trade down. And there's been steam on the Broncos, reports anyway, that they're in love with Genty, and Sean Payton would love to do whatever he could to get his hands on him, to make him a Bronco, to trade up, and they might have to move all the way up to number 4 to get ahead of the Raiders and the Jacksonville Jaguars to take him at that point. That seems a little far-fetched to me, just playing the role of messenger here. He brought that up. He also said that he believes Brian Daboll prefers Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. And then he went on this, basically to summarize, he said it's going to have to come down to this. The Giants, they do trust Dable because they kept him on as their head coach. And he is a very good quarterback developer, has been in his career, and also very good at designing offenses. So with that in mind, they would trust his opinion on the quarterbacks in this draft. But they can also step in and say, there's no way we're taking him third overall. So that's where Joe Shane, the GM, has to come in and say, we're going to take Abdul Carter, but we get it. You like Dart over Sanders, so here's what we can do. We can trade back into the first round potentially and take Dart if he's still on the board and make that move where we deem that right number to jump back in and not Sanders. And you also said that what Schrager has that in his mock? Yeah.
I'm also hearing from a good source that the Giants don't like Dart. And I think it'd be a mistake if a team takes him in the first round. So
I think there's conflict here, I think, between the front office and also Brian Dable.
Excellent.
Yep.
Very good.
He also said this, Todd McShay here, because, again, I think it's kind of common knowledge at this point that we haven't had a single trade yet, and it's the only time ever, like in the common draft era, going back to, what is that, the 70s, where we haven't had a trade at this point in the first round. He said everything that he's hearing, we're going to get a bombshell. Or there's a chance where a true bomb goes off. And he pointed out, again, Todd McShay saying this, he doesn't know and nobody can really pinpoint which team wants to do this. But evidently there is at least one team who is completely head over heels in love with Travis Hunter. And they would have to probably give up the farm to move up to number 2 with Cleveland, and then Cleveland would have to agree to that deal, obviously, and say, yeah, we're not going to take Hunter. We'll trade back into the draft. He was then spitballing at the teams that would make the most sense, and they just, based on what Jerry Jones recently said, put it out there that the Cowboys would be the team moving all the way up from number 12, where Hunter, the buzz around him, how much the Cowboys fan base, that entire state, they would absolutely be blown away at that pick to, and by the way, they don't need cornerback, but he could play cornerback, and then certainly they need a wide receiver. That's been all the talk. He'd be, if he pans out, he'd be a complete superstar there in Dallas. What do you think of that idea?
What are they going to give up?
Yeah, that's a great great question right there.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, he was great in Landman. I thought he nailed that scene.
It was a good scene.
Phenomenal scene. It felt like it was from the heart, like he just wasn't reading anything. He just talked.
Oh, he's playing himself.
Playing himself
completely.
It was awesome. He got emotional. It was great. But that's.
I can't even.
I can't imagine what they can even give up to move that up. You're moving mountains there to get to number 2.
And I shopped around today. Look, if you can find it, I'm just curious here. I'm not telling you to bet it. I'm not saying that I want to go bet it. But can anybody find a market that is which team will draft Travis Hunter? I would love to see what the Cowboys are. You can tweet us at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. I couldn't find it anywhere today. It's a foregone conclusion that he's going to go to the Browns. And you said that he moved recently to $11 now?
Uh-huh.
All right. Okay.
The other movements here. Circa. Sanders, this is wild. So they kept it at 8.5. They will not move it. It got as high as 1,400. It opened 350. Now it got to 1,400. Now it's 1,000. You got to bet 1,000 to win 100 over 8.5 for Sanders. DraftKings went to 10.5. Over minus 450. Now they just moved it to 14.5.
Is that right?
Yeah. Moved it again. Genty, 6.5. Under minus 550. Dart, they opened him 21.5. Now he's 25.5. Over $1.80.
Ooh.
Sanders is down to $2 to be the second quarterback selected as well.
I'm going to look around at one more book to find Sanders' position overall. Well,
Barron 18.5 under minus 240.
He moved to 17.5, I think, here at Circa.
Banks 13.5 under $5. Could he go to the Jets at 7? Big movement there. Graham 5.5 over minus 350 now. Wow. I think he'd go to the Raiders at 6. That's plus 650 here in town. Williams 15.5 under $6. Warren 9.5 over 225.
Sanders at Caesars is 8.5, overs -$8.
Okay.
Well, so again,
Circa has 10.5 under $2 with Warren. The other one I referenced earlier was DraftKings.
That goes back to, do we think there's enough information out there that the Giants are not going to lose their minds and go quarterback at number 3 overall? And then if that's the case, clearly Patriots, no quarterback, Jags, no quarterback, Raiders, they're not taking Sanders at 6. I think that would, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that would be the team that would surprise people. But again, you're not betting a game here. You're not betting the Thunder money line against the Grizzlies.
Uh-huh.
Upsets happen there. You're betting this based on information. Do we think we have enough information to lay $1,000 or lay $8 with Sanders to go over 8.5? I don't know if I'm there yet.
Really? Wow.
Breaking news: NBA, Jason Tatum's out. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Luke.
That's a winner. Yes.
That's a winner.
All right. Now when does he go? Does the Pittsburgh thing happen at 21? But I also think trades are in play once you get in the mid-20s as well.
By the way, so we have no trades as of right now. Again, are we going to get a ton tomorrow night?
I think so, yeah.
Once the event starts?
Yeah. When does the draft start? 4, 5, 6? When do you think?
I think 4.
New England at 4?
I think 4.
Okay.
I think we're going to get some unpredictability here, and I think this is a very difficult draft to mock.
Yep.
I really do. More difficult than previous years, potentially. Beyond, forget even because you like the top 5, but right. Beyond that.
Well, then look at the McMillan thing. How that's changed now.
His range is.
I've seen him to Jacksonville. I've seen him to 19 to Tampa.
You're right, and also other people are saying he's like number 50 on their big board. Is it really going to be where a team takes him top 5 or top 10, and others are saying absolutely not a chance? It's a complete reach.
Yeah. He might not even be the first wide receiver taken, too. Yeah. That's the other one.
Hope not. I bet Golden.
Yeah. Celtics 10.5, 196.5 the total. NFL Draft, one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. VSiN Pro helps you cash in. Unbelievable offer. VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. Full summer of sharp betting insights at half the regular price. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access. And the Mackinnon betting trends and great breakdowns from the draft to the Derby and beyond. Every sport, every edge, one low price. VSiN.com/subscribe. VSiN.com/subscribe.
Matt Youmans on the program next. He has a plethora of best bets on the draft. Find out what they are coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
More NFL Draft here. VSiN host Matt Youmans loves this event. Who doesn't? It's great. Love to bet on it as well. He's going to be on the hardcore coverage tomorrow night for 4 full hours following us. And he joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Matt, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's start here. We were just talking about some of the stuff we're hearing on Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders. How are you approaching that with bets on both of these guys?
Well, I got a little bit of buyer's remorse on some Jackson Dart bets, but not too much. I mean, because really, who knows what's going to happen with these guys? I think it's a lot of guessing. You got a lot of reporters throwing stuff against the wall, seeing what will stick, and trying to get clicks. And who knows what you really believe? I watched a long interview with Adam Schefter on the Rich Eisen show, and Schefter's even admitted that he's guessing about a lot of this stuff. So, and the teams are not going to be honest about the players they like. So I'll tell you, I bet Jackson Dart to be the second quarterback off the board at 2-1 odds, plus 200. And I bet Dart under 24.5, which I got a bad number. I could have had 25.5, but I felt pretty confident he was going to be a top 20 pick or so. Now, I don't believe Jackson Dart's going to go number 9 to the Saints. I did mock draft it that way because I don't like to predict trades in a mock draft. That's the easiest way to screw up a mock draft is put a bunch of trades in there that are not going to happen. And so I think he's going to fall somewhere in there. Look, there are 2 teams we know for sure really like Jackson Dart, the Saints and the Giants. Brian Dable likes him and Kellen Moore likes him. So where those guys maneuver to try to get to a spot where they can draft Jackson Dart, who knows? I don't know if it's going to be middle of the first round, late first round, what it's going to be. But the Giants and the Saints both like him. In fact, I made a little bet last night on Dart to the Saints at plus 240. You know who's done a really good job with draft props, and that's FanDuel. I know we were a DraftKings network for a few years, but I think FanDuel has probably done the best job on draft props. DraftKings is right there. The Vegas market's been pretty disappointing this year. Ironically, if you're out of state, it's much easier to get down these bets on NFL draft props. But as far as Shedeur Sanders goes, I bet him about 10 days ago to go to the Steelers at plus 550, and that's where I had him in the mock draft at that 21st pick. And I still think that's his most likely landing spot. It's been pretty obvious for a while that Shedeur Sanders is sliding out of the top 10. And I think he's going to be there for the Steelers at that 21st pick. They might like Jackson Dart better. They might like Jalen Milroe. I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to predict that Sanders to the Steelers at 20. And I don't know if Jackson Dart's going to go in the first round. He might be an early second rounder. It's hard to really say. That's why I have not bet that quarterback prop. I know JVT's hot and heavy about playing under 2.5, but man, it's hard to say if a team's going to trade into the back end of the first round to get a quarterback. I bet last night Jalen Milroe to go to the Browns at plus 230. FanDuel had that up. Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, talked at length about how much he likes Milroe, and I don't think it was a smokescreen. He genuinely likes him. And if you draw the connection, Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator for the Browns, was the offensive coordinator for Alabama when Jalen Milroe was there. And I think that pick actually makes a lot of sense for the Browns. So I would, if I had to guess right now, I'm going to say the Saints find a way to get Dart, Sanders to the Steelers, and Jalen Milroe is going to go to the Browns. I'm not sure where that leaves the Giants. Maybe they're going to try to trade in front of somebody if they like Sanders or Dart. I mean, it's a guessing game right now. Like I said, I've got several bets on this stuff. I've only got one bet at this point that I really regret, and none of those are on the quarterbacks.
Which one is it?
Ashton Genty to go to the Raiders. I bet Genty to go to the Raiders when I got some information from guys who cover the team. That looked like that was the direction they were going to go. And the more you look at it, that was a smoke screen. Raiders were just putting out that they like Genty, and they were going to go offensive line or defensive line, I think, the whole way. So if there was one bet I could get out of, it's Genty. I actually just bet the Bears to draft a running back with their first pick at plus 140 in case the Bears do trade up to that number 5 spot with Jacksonville to take Genty, because there's been a lot of rumors that could happen. So I went that route. If I had to say what's most likely for the Raiders, and now I think it's Mason Graham, defensive lineman from Michigan, or it's going to be an offensive lineman. It could be probably Armand Mimbu from Missouri, or maybe, who knows, maybe even Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas, if that's the guy they like. I mean, his draft position is right around 12.5. That would be kind of a surprise pick in the first round. But the information I'm hearing most recently today is that the Raiders are going to go either defensive line with Mason Graham or offensive line.
And that's a nice price on Graham, too, which was 8-1 at DraftKings and plus 650 here locally at Will Hill and some other spots. One more. How about with the Bears? Could they go tight end, you think? And maybe could the Jets get aggressive and go Warren at 7?
Well, I think you got a good handle on how that's probably going to work out. So if the Bears trade up to 5 to get Genty, then I think there's a decent chance you're going to see the Jets go Tyler Warren, tight end, at number 7. If Warren is still there and Genty's off the board, sounds like the Bears are going to go with Tyler Warren, maybe even Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan, at number 10. And now it's starting to look like more of a coin flip, whether it's going to be Warren or Loveland as the first tight end off the board.
I have seen.
It looks like.
I'm sorry. I have seen both. I've seen both go top 10 now in a mock.
Yeah. I know. And the Jets and the Bears are the two likely spots for a tight end if that happens. And Ben Johnson's he wants his own guys. He's going to create. He's a madman, mad scientist. He's going to create his own offense. He wants his own pieces, and I think he really likes Ashton Genty. I'm sure he likes Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. So I would fully expect the Bears to come away with at least one of those guys.
All right, very good. How about some wide receivers here? I got on Matthew Golden, I think it was last week. I was listening to your show, and Tony Pauly came on. He was making a great case. I grabbed him 2-1 to be the first wide receiver. That came down. It has since gone back up. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but how did you want to approach some of the wide receivers here in the draft?
Well, you and me both a little bit, watching the seesaw with the wide receivers, because last week I bet Golden plus 200 to be the first wide receiver off the board. And a lot of that's based on the combine testing too. Golden ran a 4.2, was a 4.28 at the 4.2840. And Ted McMillan from Arizona ran a 4.55. He ran mid 4.5s. So I thought for sure, okay, first wide receiver off the board, that's the Cowboys, right? They like to make a flashy first-round pick. They want to put a speed receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. How about Matthew Golden to the Cowboys at number 12? That seemed to me like the first wide receiver off the board. That was a really good bet at the time. If you think it's a coin flip, who's going to be the first wide receiver off? Take the 2-1 on the faster guy. And that looked like a really good bet on Matthew Golden. Now we're hearing rumors that the Jaguars like Teteroy McMillan, that maybe McMillan goes ahead of Golden. Who knows? I'm not really sure, but I'll tell you two other bets with concerning wide receivers I've made in the last 48 hours. I think the Packers are going to take a wide receiver for the first time since 2002 when they took Javon Walker. They've got Christian Watson, who's got the ACL injury. He's going to be out for about half the season, so they have a need. And I know they like Nika Ibuka from Ohio State. I also am sure that if McMillan happened to drop or Golden happened to drop to 23, the Packers would like to take one of those guys. Packers are going to have an option at number 23, probably to take Ibuka. I bet him to be a first-round pick. I also bet the Packers to draft a receiver at 7-1. Now, a lot of years that would be a dumb bet because the Packers never draft a wide receiver in the first round. But this year, I think there's a good chance they will. With the draft being in Green Bay, play to the crowd, you got a need. You got two players you really like. They're at number 23. I think plus 700 on the Packers to get a wide receiver is a decent bet.
All right. Excellent. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Matt Youmans, he's going to be on the draft coverage here on VSiN tomorrow night. You know what? We have a similar bet here as well because Circa posted a position on Cam Scatterbo, the running back from Arizona State. It opened up 138.5, bet down to 120.5. I grabbed it there, as did you. Right? He's going to go, I think, before 121.
I read like 5 stories about Scatterbo in the draft. And first of all, if you watch him in the college football playoff and somebody said, where do you think that guy's going to be drafted? You would have said, wow, I don't know, second round?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why this running back class is so deep. That's why it's hard to make a strong case that Ashton Genty's worth a top 10 pick because you could get a guy like Cam Scatterbo in the 3rd round. And there's not much of a difference between the two. I love Scatterbo. And I could not believe Circa opened that 138.5. By the time I got to it, it was 120.5. The juice was high. And then I think it went from 160 down to 115. I bet it again. I can't imagine Scatterbo getting past the 3rd round. So when you're talking about 120.5, you need him to be picked somewhere before the middle of the 4th round or early 4th round. And I thought that was a great bet, really. And all the draft stories I've read basically project him as a 2nd, 3rd round pick. I mean, Mitch, you would be stunned if that guy went in the 5th round, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would, absolutely. That was a great point. If you watch him in the playoffs last year, you're like, no question he's going to be a high pick. Matt, we're up against it. Good luck, and have a great broadcast tomorrow night.
Okay, you bet. Thanks.
Thank you. Our best bets in pocket plays next here on VSiN.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3-1 odds. Nope. 5-1. Nope. 10-1. You're on.
All right, couple of winners yesterday. Carolina in regulation, $1.50. They win 3-1. Entertaining game against the Devils. $1.70 is a lot, though, on the road in Game 3. And the Pacers' money line. Horrible matchup for Milwaukee. The trash talking, the skirmishes, the fighting. They don't like each other. Refreshing. And Halliburton says he lives for moments like this. Let's get to the new stuff. Pending Kings to win the series. Game 2 coming up tonight. Lean Kings 18-4 since the deadline, plus 42 goal differential. First 10 minutes of that game will be huge tonight. See what Edmonton has. Blues to save their season, Game 3 against the Jets. Could be 1-1. Game 2 was entertaining. Hellebuck was awesome. But I think the Blues make this a series and get it done in Game 3. Senators, likewise against the Leafs. Hard to believe they're up 2-0 for the first time since 2002. Ottawa outplayed them last night. Definitely in the third period. Now, the 2 goals were kind of fluky, and you could argue that Toronto sat on the lead once it was 2-0 10 minutes in. But Ottawa played a solid game, and I think they win also at home and make it 2-1. Pistons to win the series against the Knicks, plus 205. These numbers here are staggering. That you go back and look, and Beasley and Hardaway were 1 of 14 from 3, and Detroit was 6 of 27 as a team and still won the game. After the blown lead and how well they played in Game 1. Cat 10 points, OG 10 points, and the Knicks were held to 94. Kind of a little bit like the Lakers were, yes, maybe too much of a good thing. Is it too much, Luka? I love the guy. It's been too much Brunson. Other guys standing around. And I think the Pistons get him tomorrow as well. Hero over 2.5 made threes tonight. Heat Cavs over. I don't agree with the move here. Now, 10 of the 13 games have gone under so far in the NBA playoffs. 5-point move to the under in the Boston game, and Tatum's out. This one came down as well. This game one went over. All 4 meetings this year have gone over. 121 to 100 was the score in Game 1. There was a 122 to 113. There was a 126 to 106 and a 112 to 107. Mitchell has been great for Cleveland against Miami, and Hero and Bam got shots, got what they wanted. So did the other Mitchell for Miami. And I was disappointed with how Cleveland played defensively. Jerome was awesome. Still, it was a tight game, but you're talking about the number one offense in the NBA with the Cavs. Like that over again tonight. And Magic first half and Magic for the game against the Celtics, who always seem to make it interesting and more difficult than it needs to be. I think Orlando with the number 2 defense can make it ugly and muck it up and keep this one close.
All right. Best of luck. My plays, recapping, Royals, minus the 2.5 runs last night. Loser. Didn't really scratch much across during the entire game. The blown lead, it was actually 2-0 in the ninth.
Oh, 2-0, sorry.
But and then they had the bases loaded. Would have needed a grand slam to cover. I mean, it wasn't going to happen. I like him again tonight, though, to come back and win the game, but I didn't bet him minus 2.5 runs. Patrick Corbin under 15.5 outs. That was a winner last night. He lasted exactly 5 innings. Moving forward here, pending. Jahdae Barron, draft position under 18.5, plus 150. That has moved multiple times, but it's 17.5 now. Under is favored. Matthew Golden, this has been all over the map as well. First drafted wide receiver, 2-1. He got all the way down to minus 110. Now back to the 2-1 range. Dolphins first drafted position, offensive line, plus 120. Packers first drafted position, wide receiver, 6-1. Additional plays here. Bet this earlier this morning. Put this on the website at vsin.com. Barron, first D-back drafted without Travis Hunter, plus 120. He's now minus 175. We'll see if that's going to be a winner or not. And then Tyler Hero, I did tell you on this, on minus 110. We'll call it minus 125 here because I'm good with that price still.
What do you like better, this or Steph Curry to have the most threes made tonight, $1.15?
No,
boy, that seems like a good price.
I'll go Hero.
Okay. Well,
yeah, what's he going to need to hit it? Steph, 5?
That many? I don't know. But Van Vliet was terrible in game 1. No one shot the ball well than
Are you saying, is it just for that game?
Yeah. It's $1.15. 5 will get it, yeah. 4 might get it.
Jalen Green could do it.
Okay.
But
it's a great market. Threes, rebounds, and points, assists. It's every game, every series, and then everyone involved in the entire first round. I love it.
Well, it's also
updated daily.
You can also just, they have several books are offering that now as well. They have a name for it, but it's the most threes of the entire night. in any game. Turns out to be a great sweat. Like Derek White had 7 the other night in game 1.
Oh, nice.
And then that's Ty Jerome was playing after that, and he had 5, and he was heating up.
Uh-huh.
But White eventually took it, and then you split the pot with a bunch of other people who had that guy. So it's a really cool market to offer people.
This is good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. I like the Exacta, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is now $1.40, the NFL draft. I think it goes chalky and it goes to form. Campbell stays to the Patriots. Genty, number 5. And then Graham to the Raiders. Well, I'm picking up what Matt's putting down. And it was +6. Did you find it?
Yeah, he's moving. It's still moving.
Down.
It's down to 6-1.
Okay. It was 8-1 yesterday, and now 6-1 now as well. Edge Boost, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, or cashback rewards. 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code FTM. No longer waiting for that wire or paying outrageous fees when you're over your limit. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match it. Get paid for what you love doing, and you're doing it already, which is betting. edgeboost.bet.
So I wonder, by the time that we're going to be closing up shop tomorrow, same time here, an hour before the draft, how much the current odds are going to look differently compared to what they are as of, because remember 2 years ago, top of the draft, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, what's going to happen there? And I was holding out hope. It was based on some of the comments by Panthers brass. They couldn't wait for Stroud to get to Charlotte so they could play basketball together. Like he was going to be the guy.
That's right. Yeah.
Had a nice ticket on Stroud.
Yeah.
And then an hour before the draft, Bryce Young went from a small favorite to -3,000. And I'm also holding Will Anderson to go number 2 overall.
This is a killer. I know.
At a huge number.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, Stroud went from, that was like 50-50 with Anderson, and he shot to like -4,000 to go number 2 overall.
There's been a lot of cool moments. There's been some weird moments. 1 year, Schefter leaked the first 3 picks of the draft, and the league had to step in and say, knock it off. You had the 1 year, we were live doing a mock draft show, and it came down that the Texans weren't taking Bush. And moments before that, Jimmy Vaccaro told a colleague, kid, I'll buy you a new car if the Texans don't take Bush.
Mm-hmm.
And they went with Williams. I remember our former colleague, Mike Lombardi. He wasn't the only one. A couple of years ago, the Miami Dolphins talked to Lombardi, Darlington, and other people and blatantly lied and said, yeah, we're going offensive line with the top 10 pick. They didn't do that. And the odds moved crazy. We got beat on that. That was no good as well. So it is line season, and it also, you could get that too with what came out today with Sanders, where maybe someone put it out there about, all-time bad interview, terrible, and title all this, and someone might take him top 20 now after what came out today. You never know. You're right. Wild stuff. Hunter, $1,100 to go to the Browns. Carter, $8. Campbell, $475 to go to the Patriots as of now.
So the biggest surprise as of, if right now was the draft, right, coming up in an hour, Sanders to go top 10 would completely rattle people.
Yes. Oh, that'd be huge. I mean, to DraftKings to go to 14.5 on him now?
Sure.
And here he's got the -1,400 to go over 8.5? Yeah, that would be would the Saints or someone shock the world?
Or
something.
Also, what if Genty dropped to like number 10 and the Bears had to just sit there and wait for him?
Or Cowboys drop to 12. I like that. Yeah, the Graham drop too. Like if he doesn't go 5 or 6, like how far does that guy go? Where it was just a foregone conclusion that he was going to go at least 5.
Yeah. And
now maybe he goes 13. He could fall if he doesn't go 5 or 6.
I'm trying to find right now. Genty to go 5th overall is now -210.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And
crazy.
Under 6.5 as high as -650 now.
That is the draft in a nutshell right there. 30-1 not that long ago. 10 days maybe, not even.
Damn.
To go 5th overall, and now he's -210. All right, primetime is next. 4 solid hours. More NFL draft, NBA, NHL playoffs. Wake up, VSiN by the books tomorrow as well, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Good luck tonight.